perfect life. Mark had always believed he lived a charmed existence. He and Trish met in college, bonding over late-night study sessions and mutual friends. 15 years later, they shared a quaint house in Colorado with two kids, Logan, 12, and Ava, 9, and a friendly golden retriever named Buddy. Their evenings were filled with family dinners and weekend movie nights. On the surface, everything seemed idyllic. Yet in the past year, Trish began expressing a restlessness Mark didn't understand. Trish, one afternoon, I just feel like I'm losing myself. I love you and the kids, but sometimes I wonder if there's more to life than just being a mom and a wife. Mark, confused, Trish, you're free to do hobbies, see friends, whatever you need. We can figure it out together. Trish nodded, but a distant look lingered in her eyes. Rumors and suspicions. Before long, acquaintances started dropping hints to Mark. Hey, I saw Trish in a club last Friday. She was hanging with some guy. Another day, someone else mentioned spotting her at a bar with a different man. Mark, indignant, shaking his head. No, that can't be right. She's probably out with coworkers. You know how rumors get twisted. His friends exchanged pitying glances, but they let the subject drop. Mark wanted desperately to trust his wife, chalking the rumors up to overblown gossip. Yet Trish's absences grew more frequent. She'd call around dinner time. Trish, on the phone. I'm meeting friends tonight. Don't wait up. I need some air. His chest tightened each time she said it, but he never challenged her directly. One Monday morning, Trish forgot her purse in the kitchen as she rushed out. Mark, hoping to deliver it to her office, picked it up and felt something shift. Out fell a small box of condoms. His heart pounded. Half the box was missing. Mark whispering, "She's been meeting men, actually hooking up." He stared numbly at the evidence, unsure how to confront her. He waited a week thinking maybe he'd catch a glimpse of her phone or have a moment of honesty from her. Finally, he set up a calm dinner and braced himself. Mark, Trish, I found condoms in your purse. Are they yours? Trish barely blinked. Trish, yes, they're mine. I'm tired. Mark, tired of playing the wife role and nothing else. Mark swallowed hard, trying to keep composure. Mark, what do you want then? To see other people? Trish actually smirked. Trish, maybe you should too. Get a girlfriend on the side. Why not? Trish's brazen suggestion shattered Mark. Since college, he'd loved her devotedly, never imagining a life without her. He couldn't fathom sharing her, nor did he want a mistress. He sank into a depression, confiding in close friends who insisted he should walk away. Friend pulling Mark aside, she's humiliating you. Why stay? For the kids, you deserve better. Mark just sighed, swirling a half-finished glass of whiskey in his hand. Mark, I can't stop loving her overnight. This is my family. Trish, meanwhile, continued her nights out. She'd come home smelling of unfamiliar cologne, sometimes wearing different lipstick than when she left. Mark began drinking more heavily, trying to numb the ache. One late evening, after too many drinks, Mark grabbed his car keys and sped off, ignoring the tiny voice telling him to call a taxi. His vision blurred with tears and booze. He lost control, skidding into a streetlight. The impact knocked him unconscious, fracturing bones and leaving him in a coma. Trish was horrified. She rushed to the hospital daily, sat at Mark's bedside, held his limp hand, and wept. Doctors said it was uncertain if he'd recover fully. For 2 agonizing weeks, he lay there unresponsive. Suddenly, he opened his eyes one morning, weak but alive. Trish's relief was palpable. She clutched his hand as tears streamed down her face. Trish, voice trembling, I'm so sorry. I never wanted this. Stay with me, please. Mark could barely speak, but his gaze was distant, pain unable to match her tearful intensity. Rehabilitation took time. Physical therapy, slow steps in hospital corridors, and speech exercises for a mild head injury. Trish appeared every day, bringing homemade soup and fresh flowers, repeating apologies, reminding him how she'd never left his side. Trish, softly, I was with you through all of this. Doesn't that prove I still care? Mark, still bandaged, stared at her in silence. A swirl of emotions, love, anger, betrayal, surged through him. Once discharged, the question arose, return home to her or file for divorce? Mark, with a heavy sigh, it's time I leave, Trish. We can't keep going like this, she fought back. Trish, why would you do that now? We have a beautiful family. I love you. You love me. How can you throw it all away? Don't you see how I stood by you? That means nothing. His resolve wavered, overshadowed by guilt. In a moment of confusion, he yielded. Mark, I can't just walk away from everything from the kids. Returning to the house, Mark soon realized nothing had changed. Trish still disappeared at night, still kept those condoms in her purse. She'd greet him with a smile, fix dinner for the kids, then slip off to clubs or bars. The cycle continued. Mark felt trapped, physically scared, and emotionally broken. He told a friend, Mark, it's like she thinks we're fine. She's back to her ways. And I'm stuck. The friend urged him to finalize a divorce, but Mark's love for Trish, his fear of starting over, and perhaps a sense of obligation after her devotion during his coma all held him back. The marriage limped on. Some nights, Mark sat alone in the dark living room, staring at the TV without really watching. Trish would come home at 2 a.m., heels clicking across the tile, a casual greeting on her lips. He'd nod silently, feeling too drained to protest. He'd often recalled the hospital bed, the moments he drifted between life and death. Should he have ended it then? Faced reality, walked away. Instead, he returned to a hollow version of marriage, tied by love and fear in equal measure. Mark, quietly to himself, maybe I never woke up properly from that coma. Maybe this is all just a dream. Trish hovered in the doorway, phone in hand, dressed for another night out. She gave him a perfunctory smile. Trish, heading off. I'll be back late, love you. He managed a weak smile, though his eyes showed defeat. Mark, love you too. But as she closed the door behind her, he stayed seated, fists clenched, tears threatening to spill. Life would go on. 2 kids, a dog, and a shared house, but the marriage itself was nothing more than a fragile facade. Sometimes love holds people hostage long after the heart has broken.